Yes, ma'am. District 4 in Louisville. We actually got a shirt that says Louisville in like 5 different ways. It's a taboo for our city. Hey, you say it how you say it. Microphone check. I can't in the chat if you can. I see your name in the chat. If you can hear me, can we get a Black Power fist in the chat? I hear Jeffrey. Just from my ear on the phone. Did you test your microphone? There we go. I heard something I just heard something ruffled just now. Nah. I'm bad luck.
Let's see what this does.
There we go.
Can you?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me, y'all? Keep
yes.
Buttons. Yes. Can you hear me, Jecorey?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna hang up the phone too.
Okay. Yes.
You try to be fancy with the headset.
Oh, it was the damn earpiece. Maybe it's dead. There you go. Yeah. The devil is a lie. we were not gonna quit. Jecorey, good evening, brother. Good evening. Whoa, that was a janky headset. Yes. It's dead, and I'm gonna throw it in the trash. No worries.
Somebody just texted me and said they can hear us now. I think so. We're solid.
Praise God. Great, Jecorey. Yay! Welcome to the broadcast. I think people were waiting for us to connect and hook up. Why don't you introduce yourself, brother? I'm excited about your candidacy, Louisville. we're making an impact with this, with these agendas we have. So introduce yourself, Jecorey, to those that don't know who you are.
Absolutely. My name is Jecorey, born, raised, and a resident of the West End of Louisville, specifically the Parkland neighborhood where Muhammad Ali is from, but now I live in the Russell neighborhood, still in the West End. I'm also known as Mr. Arthur when I teach in schools, community centers, libraries, boys and girls clubs all over the city, teaching music to youth and empowering youth. I'm also known as Professor Arthur at Simmons College of Kentucky, where I teach in the music department. And as of this month, I'll be teaching and helping launch a social justice department. And I'm also known as 1200 when I'm recording, performing, composing music from classical to hip hop.
You are the man. I am delighted to meet you. I think a lot of people were waiting for us to connect, and I'm so glad that we have. And for those of you that don't know, I'm just going to briefly introduce myself. Of course, I am Tamara Johnson Shealey. I'm running for the United States Senate right here in the great state of Georgia. I've been, doing this for quite a number of years. This is not my first run. This is not my second run. This is not my third run. This is actually my fourth run for office. I ran for the Georgia State Senate 2014, 2016, and 2018. And this is my big launch with the United States Senate. And I think it's our time, Jecorey. I think it's time for an agenda that speaks to the least, the last, the lost, and the left out. How about that? And I get that from a pastor here in Atlanta, Mr. Greg Payne.
It's definitely our time, and I'm realizing, I'm 27, that so many of the folks around my age, my peers, my colleagues, are understanding how important it is to be politically engaged. This isn't something that we learned in grade school. This really isn't something that we learned ever. But now we're understanding, okay, we have these awful conditions. We got to do something about it. And politics is really the only way to go at this point. Yeah,
it is. This is where we're going to make an impact. This is how we change things. We have to have a political presence. And, a lot of us as a people, Black people, we're just going to speak to that at this moment, but we don't go to the polls. We don't exercise our political power. We're unengaged and we're uninformed.
I was just talking to someone about our political power, specifically as far as the numbers go. We have about 5,000 Black adults in my neighborhood. If all 5,000 of them voted, I could win the election by a landslide without any other votes. And I got about 16 neighborhoods in this district. I could win just by having all 5,000 of the Black votes in my neighborhood. But people don't understand the collective power that we have through the vote. And it's our job to make sure that they do understand it.
Mm-hmm. It is our job, and we have to give them a reason. I think, Jecorey, so many times we don't go out. It's not that we don't. I think we don't have a reason. So many politicians have lied to us and just, they say they're going to do this and they don't do it. And we're discouraged. So I think that we have to have a reason, and we got to believe in our candidates in order to get Black people to come out. What's your thoughts there?
Absolutely. And I'm realizing, because this is my first time jumping in the ring, so we kind of cover both ends of the spectrum. I'm a freshman to the political world, and I think you're a veteran. So I'm realizing that so many of our people, they don't have a reason to go out. And in some cases, that reason might be because of the politician itself, or maybe it's because there just hasn't been a clear understanding of what Metro Council is, or maybe what a senator does. And I think it's going to be important moving forward that we are just so politically educated. You can't tell us anything, or you can't create these myths around Blackness, around our disparities that are going to continue to keep us down in that bottom caste that we always talk about. So we gotta make sure we're politically awake, and when we wake up, we stand up and we live in that dream that Dr. King was talking about in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. I have so much hope for, today is January 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. I just have so much hope about this next decade, because I know that what was started in the 60s was incomplete. And I really think, and I told somebody this, we had to be born. Like this generation of us, we had to be born in order to carry on what was started. And I'm very excited about what is about to happen in this next decade.
I'm excited.
Spiritual.
What's that?
I said, someone just said it's spiritual. Can you feel it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you were at the conference, the ADOS conference.
Mhm.
I have never felt more myself or more like life was making sense than I did when I was at that conference, and just realizing, I've been spending most of my adult life out and about teaching and performing. And as much as I advocate for Black empowerment and I talk about the disparities and the issues that we go through, I've never really felt like I had all the answers, or the answers that made sense, or even the most attainable, until this movement was created. The idea of us going after reparations and focusing on a Black agenda and anchoring Blackness in our politics is so vital, so important, because to a certain extent, we've been shied away from doing that. And I'm still getting shied away from doing that. And I'm glad we're having this conversation right now, but it's important. We can't ignore it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And it is important. That's a great segue into, being Black in politics. You and I are, we're Black, right? But not only are we Black, we're unapologetically Black. Like, looking at me, walking in a room with my natural hair, I struggle with wearing makeup because I'm like, that's just not who I am. I like me in my naturalness. And looking at you, you a brother with his natural hair, you got your beard with your beads. I'm sure when you walk in the room, I know sometimes they don't know what to do with us. Like, we're either too Black, and I've been deemed too Black. I'll just tell my story. I was the Black candidate when I ran in 2014 and 2016. I think that I probably was naive. I was Black then, but I thought that I could, the fact that I had a heart to serve and I was qualified to do this. I thought that, I was accepted. And then when 2018 rolled around, we have Donald Trump as a president, and white people felt emboldened. I became the Black candidate. And Jecorey, I tell my story because I know what it feels like when they're looking at you, and they're looking at you, and they're looking at you and not looking beyond the color of your skin. I know what that feels like. And in 2018, a race was ran against me, and I couldn't win because of my Blackness. And it hurt me. It devastated me. It hurt me to my core, because if there was any other reason that I did not win, the fact that I was Black, I knew that I could never get around. So being Black in politics, saying Black, first of all, is taboo. Like, saying Black, I mean, that's like, it scares people just to say Black. And then the fact that say I'm my presence, I'm a Black woman, and I stand in my Blackness and all of that. So, being in politics and being Black is not easy.
It's definitely not. And I think to a certain extent, I often go back to the Malcolm X quote about the knife and healing. I think to a certain extent, we still live in a world where many people aren't acknowledging that knife. They aren't acknowledging that pain that we go through. I had a woman come up to me not too long ago. I was just out and about, and she told me she took issue with me talking about the Black agenda at my press conference when I announced that I was running for city council. And she told me that poverty has nothing to do with being Black. It has nothing to do with race. And of course, I presented to her a lot of information, a lot of data, and she was kind of taken aback, I think, because I knew the data, but also just because she has never been taught this is an issue. And the numbers don't lie, the figures are very clear. And I think it's going to take quite a bit of education as we present Black issues and present Black solutions, because some people don't even acknowledge the issue. They don't acknowledge the knife, as Malcolm X said a long time ago.
That's a mouthful just right there, Jecorey. They don't know our struggle. They don't know what's happening in the Black community. And then they try to offer solutions that aren't solutions. That's just, their interpretation of what we need to do. You need to do this and you need to do that. I mean, it's such a big conversation, but I just know that it is a tremendous undertaking. So I just applaud you for stepping up and your willingness to serve, because I personally know how hard this is.
Thank you. I look up to what you're doing, and I salute you from over here in Louisville, and do what I can to support in any way possible. Back to what you were saying in regards to us not having a reason to vote. People, white, black, and in between, also have to realize there are so many hurdles to keep us from voting. Even in my neighborhood in Russell, on the west end of Louisville, about half of our families don't have vehicles. So if you catch the bus across town to go to work and your employer does not allow you to go and vote that day, or you have a 30-minute lunch, you can't catch the bus back to your polling place to even put your ballot in. So there are so many issues when it comes to the process for voting, let alone having a reason, let alone being inspired to do it. We got to address those as well in our campaigns and when we're in office, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And we got to probably stress early voting. Do you guys have early voting in Louisville? I'm trying to say it like you.
So our primary is on May 19th, which is actually my 28th birthday. And I keep saying that I don't want to ruin my birthday forever. Yeah, so if I get elected, I'll be the youngest city councilman in history. And I'm looking forward
to when you get elected.
Thank you. When I get elected, when I'm in city council. I think to a certain extent, it's scaring folks. Like I'm gonna just come in and Dick Gregory made jokes about being the first Black president, saying he'll just spit watermelon seeds on the front lawn. And no, but I think to a certain extent, that's the way some people look at Black candidates.
Yeah, I can't explain it. I try to, when I meet constituents, I try to meet them where they are. And I've been called a racist because I talk about race, because I talk about I have a Black agenda. I'm a racist. I'm like, I have no power and no control. So how can I be a racist? But they fear this, and there's nothing to fear when you help. With our Black agendas, it really does help everybody. And I don't think they quite understand how it helps them.
Right. I was just talking about this with a woman. Black people are at the very bottom of my city, of my state, of my country. So when we're talking about all of these political issues, let's say mass incarceration, criminal reform and justice, we're looking at Black people at the very bottom of that. And if we readjust the system, we press the restart button, we look at what's not working for us and for everyone else, it is automatically going to impact the rest of our society, because we're the bottom of the totem pole. When I'm in a school and I have a student that is struggling, I can't advance the entire class beyond what that student is capable of. So if I address that student's needs, who's at the very bottom, of course, everyone else is going to benefit, because as a collective, we're going to be able to move forward. And a lot of people just don't realize that. I think it goes into the whole concept of the bottom cast and leaving us there, locking us there, and making sure that we can't get out.
Because there's profiteering there. There's money to be made when we keep, quote unquote, I guess, certain people on the bottom. And Black people are just not, we're just not going for that in this next generation. We're just not, we're not.
No, absolutely. And everywhere I go and everyone I'm talking to, I'm letting them know this election is going to change our city. It's going to change politics. It's going to change what we're doing statewide. Is going to change what we're trying to do effort-wise, federally. Like, this is going to be a year that not even just ADOS people are so in the know and so ready to not take any more BS. Everyone is going to be aware. We are making some tidal waves out here, digitally, socially, and otherwise. And I'm just excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to have some leadership opportunities within the movement, and anything that I can do to help anyone, anywhere. I think we should have candidates in every state push our agenda forward. I'm with it. Yes.
I think I'm just excited, like I said, about this next decade. We're not going to just go to the polls and look for a D. We're not going to do that. And we're going to be intentional about who we're giving this power to, because that's what we do every time we go to the polls and we vote for these candidates. We're giving them the power. And we're going to do that this time. We're going to be intentional about our candidates. And if they don't have an agenda that is a Black agenda, then they can't have that vote.
Right. I can't imagine knocking on somebody's house in my neighborhood and not having a conversation with them about their needs. As you know, we talk about politics being an exchange, not a gift. I don't know how the other politicians have done it in city council before me. How are you knocking on black doors and not addressing the fact that most of our kids graduate high school not ready to go into college or not ready to go into the workforce? How are you not addressing the fact that Louisville is nationally the worst city for young blacks ages 18 to 24 who aren't in school or who don't even have a job? How are you not addressing the fact that half of us don't have vehicles? How are you not addressing the fact that our unemployment rate is crazy? These are issues that need to be addressed. They need to be handled, and we need to handle them as soon as possible. And I'm going to make sure that I do that when I'm in office.
Yep, and you know what? And I'm taking our reparations agenda to Washington. You know, we have to have an agency, a federal agency to address us as a people, those of us that are ADOS. And I want to put the ADOS website. So it's ADOS101.com for those that are new to this movement, new to this conversation. Go to the website. It's ADOS101.com. It is great information there. And we have to have an agenda that is specific to ADOS, those of us that are descendants of slavery in this country. And I am taking that bold agenda to Washington. It is a little uncomfortable for Georgians because this is something that, you know, I say this respectfully, but there's a lot of people here in Georgia that are just, I say they were just not free, Jecorey. Still live in a time where there's a lot of fear here in Georgia. There's a lot of you know, it is going to take a movement where people know that there is something more. So Georgia is ripe and ready.
I see a question in the chat about our parties and why we're running in certain parties. And I can address mine. Mine was kind of easy. In the state of Kentucky, you are not allowed to vote outside of the party you're registered as. And in my district alone, there's about 15,000 registered voters. 3,000 are Republican. The rest are Democrat. So if I would have registered as a Democrat, as a Republican, there's no way in the world I would have been able to win this race just based on the numbers alone, or any other party for that matter. So for me personally, that's why I registered and filed as a Democrat. Other than that, I really have no alignment with the Democratic Party.
Well, I've run. This is, like I say, my fourth run, and I am running as a Democrat. I am very much so independent. But I lean Democratic. So in Georgia, you got to pick a party. So I run as a Democrat, and a lot of the values I do believe in. It's just the party needs a lot of damn work. And I say that, and I mean it when I say it. It needs a lot of damn work. Stacey Abrams ran a phenomenal campaign here in Georgia, and she moved that needle. She got a lot of Black people to the polls, but there's a lot of Black people that were left sitting on the sidelines, and we gotta go get the rest of our voters. The rest of them, we gotta give them a reason to vote, and we gotta bring them into the fold, and we gotta take care of all of our needs.
Right. There's so much untapped potential. Even in Louisville, we have a young first-time voter basis that, as I think you said on the phone the other day, we got to go dig those votes up. We got to dig those votes up. We got to give them a reason to vote, and they got to come out and support the candidates that are going to support them. And in the past, I can't think of any reason that they would have had to vote. And I know that because as a 27-year-old, I'm coming out of the past few primaries where I didn't feel as if any of those candidates reflected me and my needs. So I didn't go out and support them. But now we're in a position where it's very clear and apparent that we're going to need to address specific needs for ADOS. Bring those up in our campaigns, bring those up when we're in office, and make sure that we do something about the problems that exist and these black clouds linked over our heads. We got to make sure that we take care of our people. And what better group to do it than a group of its own.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in these in the urban areas, in these rural areas that, they feel left out. They don't feel like, there's any hope. And I think that seeing candidates that look like me, candidates that look like you, I believe we give people hope. I believe we do.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime I walk into a school as a musician, a classical musician and a hip hop artist, I'm often walking into schools and a teacher or somebody else will say, "This is 1200. This is a rapper," and I got to correct them and say, "No, I'm a teacher. I'm a professor." And even just that, because our kids can name a bunch of athletes, they can name a bunch of rappers and entertainers, but how many senators can they name? How many city council members can they name? How many teachers and scholars and scientists can they name? So we're looking at changing the face and the stereotypes that exist around being Black, because we've been living in this world where people just think Blacks are fitting in one kind of category, one kind of career. We need to switch that up. We're in the political world now, and we're not doing it to tap dance. We're in the political world, and we're doing it to uplift our people.
That's right. And you know what? One thing I can say about this Trump presidency, I'll give credit to the fact that he's broken the mold about what people do and what people say and how we are perceived. That man don't give a damn, and they've accepted him wholeheartedly. So you and I feel I'm just gonna be me, and I'm just excited that you're gonna be you, and we're gonna, we're all about uplifting of Black people in this generation, and this is where this saying, "A rising tide lift all boats." When Black people are part of this tide, okay, we all can win.
Absolutely. It's funny that I think liberals or people who call themselves allies, white folks, oftentimes try to demonize Trump like they didn't vote for him. When a large majority of white folks put him in office, and even at the state level back here in Louisville, our governor, we have a Democratic governor, and he won by, I think, 1 or 2 points. And people, election night, were just talking about how proud they were of Kentucky. And I didn't say out anything publicly, but I'm sitting back thinking, how are we proud of Kentucky? We're proud of half the state. If you got a 49% on a test, you'd be failing. So I'm not proud of my state for, putting a Democratic governor in office when he only won by 1.5, 2%. We still got a lot of work to do. And our governor, our ex-governor, Matt Bevin, was very closely aligned with Donald Trump. He actually brought Trump to Louisville, I think the night before the election, just to get him to rally up some votes. And it obviously didn't work, but we still got work to do if half of our state is voting for him.
Yeah, we absolutely still have a lot of work to do. I just think 2020 is going to be our year to do it. I'm proud of this ADOS movement. I'm proud of our white allies and all of our other allies that are helping us along the way here. I'm excited about what is to come, Jecorey. Your candidacy. I know you're the man for the job, and you got the whole movement behind you. I feel like I got the whole movement behind me, and it's our time, brother.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking back on the past, like I said, I'm a freshman to this world. I can't remember or recall a social, political movement, economical movement that had such a force to help Black politicians who had a Black agenda. There's one woman currently sitting in our city council who I think is very much so in line with what ADOS is about. But before our movement existed, nobody was there to support her and push her and defend her. But now we're here. We're here. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be scared away. And it's our time for sure. I see somebody in the chat asking about my campaign, JecoreyArthur.com, JECOREY. I think my name is on the bottom of the screen. That's my website where you can donate, send me some messages, holler at me. I'm still building it out. Thank you for your support.
Is your name Jecorey Arthur, your whole name?
Yes, JecoreyArthur.com.
Let me see if I can put it on the screen and move us up. There it is. Is that right?
Technology. That's crazy.
Yes. I'll help our brother out there in Louisville.
Yeah. So funny story about my website. When you go on, you'll see my logo. And It was difficult to articulate before ADOS. You'll see my logo, and that logo used to be Jecorey Arthur with a black power fist. We were just talking about this, with a black power fist in the middle of the O.
Yes.
And I had several conversations with white folks, black folks, people in between about the implications behind the black power fist and what that logo would mean. And I think someone just said this in the chat earlier about being strategic and playing the game. So now I switched it up to be two handshaking because in Louisville, we have something known as the 9th Street Divide, which is very much so essentially just the racial wealth gap, the racial achievement gap. And I wanted to kind of play on the idea of our city being divided. So that's the new logo, but best believe when I'm in office, I'm gonna add the black power fist back and get those watermelon seeds.
You're funny. Oh my God. So we are in this to win this. I just want to say thank you, Jecorey. I do this every Wednesday with I come and give a campaign update, but tonight I wanted to start off the new year with your candidacy and your campaign for city council in Louisville, Kentucky. So go to his website, everybody. Be sure to donate. Jecorey needs contributions just like I do. I will come back to y'all between now and first thing in the morning with an update on the specifics of how we did. We needed to raise 15K by December 31st. I was just too scared to take a look. They were coming in. So hopefully prayerfully we have reached that mark. But I'll definitely give you guys an actual total on tomorrow. But JecoreyAuthor.com, Louisville City Council, District 4. We have to get this man in office. And I am so, I feel so blessed to be in this moment of time with you, Jecorey, and being a part of this ADOS movement, because this is the truth.
Absolutely. I think we kind of spoke it into existence earlier. Maybe a few months ago, I noticed the ADOS caucus on Twitter. And, I don't think we have a real ADOS caucus, but we're about to have one for real with candidates in it that are doing this work, that are about this Black agenda. And we're going to get together and physically, digitally, and otherwise and make sure that we're out here repping for our people.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that because, when America understands that we're all here together and we have to make this work for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it, period. It can't be, it works for some people and not all people. And Black people are just tired of it not working for us. We're just tired of it not working for us. So we are our seat at the table.
Absolutely. My campaign slogan is Louisville for all. That changed too after a while, but we got to make sure that this city, that our states are, our country is out here working for us. Just like you said, we work for it. We need that to come back tenfold.
Exactly. And it's not either or, it's and. It has to work for all of us, all at the same time. And America can do that. We can make this work for all of us at the same time. So Black people just want a seat at the table, and we're not asking, we're demanding it. So there it is. Jecorey Author 2020. May what? Tell us your birthday, election date again.
May 19th. That's also Malcolm X Day. That is my 28th birthday. That's election day when I take my technically we have a general after that, but I don't think a Republican's going to jump into the race. So if I get this primary, I'm in it to win it.
You're in it to win it. Jecorey, promise me you'll come back soon. You'll come back and let's give an update and let's continue to have this conversation. Let's continue to, speak truth, speak this thing into existence because it's here now.
We're gonna do it, and we're gonna have a digital watch party when the election comes up. I'll definitely send information about that to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Jecorey Author. Go to his website, everybody. Continue to send those contributions. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey. You can send me a contribution at tamara4georgia.com. Let me put the ADOS website on the screen, ADOS101.com. For those of you that don't know a whole lot about this movement and why we're doing what we're doing, because Black people will be a permanent undercast in this country by 2053, and we're just not going to sit back and let that happen. And my website is tamara4georgia.com. Thank you, Jecorey.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Peace.
Good night.